Welcome to Land House. I'm Seth. In the previous 3 videos, I got my 1-inch ram pump up and running for 2022, and then I took 2 videos to get my off-grid water tower up here built. So now it's time to get the water from where my old tower was to the new tower. There's a few things we're going to have to do here, and let me show you what those are. Previously, I had a 3/4 inch pipe coming up and a 3/4 inch pipe going down. I want to maintain the 3/4 inch pipe coming down so that I'll have the most flow possible. But I've ordered and picked up this 1/2 inch pipe here, which is going to go from the delivery pipe right here and finish going up to the tank. And then from the tank down, I'm going to continue with the 3/4 inch. So I don't have any more of the 3/4. So what I'm going to do is trace down this one right here that's currently producing and disconnect it, drag it up the hill, and connect it to this one. So let's go ahead and find out where I need to pull up from down here. If I tap on here, I can tell that this one has water in it. So I'm going to go ahead and get this one disconnected. Now when I do this, the ram pump might stop because of back pressure loss. We'll give it a try here. Let's see if I'm man enough to pull these apart here. Water. There we go. Save the tools. Now I'm going to be using 1/2 inch to go up to the tank, so I'm going to just push this back in here. And then put that hose clamp back on. Now you may be asking the question, what happens if you reduce from 3/4 to 1/2 inch? Isn't that going to greatly reduce your output to the tanks up above? And the answer to that is no. And the reason is because the output of this 1/2 inch ram pump is, the 1 inch ram pump is only about a 1/2 gallon a minute at best for this height. So the friction loss in this delivery pipe is basically 0 for a 1/2 inch. So I'm not concerned about it being an issue going uphill here. All right, so let's go ahead and drag this up, and then we'll also drag this one up to attach to our tank. Because this pipe can be kind of heavy and it wants to slide back down the hill, I have got this board here with some plumber's tape, and I'm just going to keep this up here and remove the old 3/4 inch and then replace this 1/2 inch in here, so it'll just prevent it from sliding back down the hill basically. At least that's the idea behind it. Now that I have this piece free, I'm going to bring this one up to the tank, and then it will come back down and connect to this and go back down to the garden space. And then the 1/2 inch pipe we just drug up will connect to whatever's left of this to go up to the tanks. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but let's just do it. The pipe goes all the way up to the tank behind the tree and right down to this spot right here. So I need to go ahead and cut this and then get these 2 attached. Okay, and that's going to bring the water back down from the tank. Now we have this piece that's going to take the water to the tank. So this one is stepping up from 1/2 inch to the 3/4. Okay, here's what we have to work with. This one right here needs to be able to get up to the top, and you can see it's going to do that just fine. So I may actually bring this down to the bottom and attach it a couple times here to the leg, since it's going to have some weight. And so I'll have to add a little bit extra up there to get to the top. And this other side over here should be able to access the output right here, no problem. Real quick without you, I added a couple more little braces here to the side. So now all the corners have these braces on them, and this thing still seems to be rock solid. Okay, so now we have the delivery pipe coming up the hill, and it's stopped a little bit short from the top of the tank, as you can see. And so I'm going to add a little piece of 1/2 inch right here, and then we can just put this right into the top of the tank up here. So, and I don't have my adapter yet, so I'm just going to close this off for now. I'm so close to the top of the tank, I don't think there's any reason to put hose clamps on this. So I'm just going to do that right there, and then we can go ahead and get this up to the top. I'm gonna put this pipe right in here, and it's a bit long, so I think I may scoot back a couple of feet and then just give this a trim. Let's go about right here. Okay, so that's our flow rate. Doesn't look like much, but it'll fill this thing up probably in about 24 hours. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and scoot up under here real quick, and then I may have to put a couple of hose clamps or some kind of plumber's strap down there to keep this from sinking back down the hill. I just added a piece of this metal plumber's tape with some torque screws to keep that delivery pipe from sliding out. And of course, right down there past the tanks, there's that other board keeping this in place. So you can hear this now filling over here. Let's go ahead and see if there is enough in here to come out whenever I open this valve. And here we go. So that's the water we've filled up so far over the past, 10 or 15 minutes. All right, so it's obviously working. About 2 days has passed and the water tower is now full. So you can see a lot of water dripping down up under here. We're gonna fix that little overflow problem here in just a moment, but the tank is nice and full. Everything is quite tight, and the tower seems to have held up quite nicely. One cool thing is that water seems to be dripping over on each side, so I've got this thing pretty level, which is a good thing. All right, so for now, what I want to do is go ahead and get the pipe from the tank down to the garden spot done. And that's also gonna be where our vent is and our overflow. So basically, the thought is, I'm gonna have this piece right here come out right there, and then I'm gonna have the pipe connected to that. So that's where the water is gonna go down to the garden, but you'll notice it's on a T. And so I'm gonna have a pipe going up, and then it will connect to this right here, and then the overflow will come out of this, and it'll have this vent over here. So this will be up pretty close to the top, and then the water will just naturally fall out of that. I purchased an adapter to go from the IBC tote to 3/4 inch, and it does not thread on here. So I'm having to use a 2-inch Furnco fitting, and then this 2-inch slip to threaded 3/4, and hopefully that will be an easy enough adapter here. I don't think it'll be leaking too much, but we'll give it a try. Sometimes you just have to improvise. If it leaks, I'll tighten them down a little bit more. Okay, and so now, because we're using this thread, I've brought a pipe razor, put a little bit of Teflon on there, even though I don't think it's gonna really have much of a pressure behind it. And then I also brought one of these adapters that is, it's got a 90 on it to make it a little easier for us, because this pipe is over here on this side. I've got this piece of 1/2 inch pipe that I'm going to stick into this T,
and that's going to raise up way above the tank. But I'm going to cut that down so that I can put the other tee up here, and then I can use that to be the overflow up top. But first of all, I just want to toss a couple of zip ties on here to keep it from falling over. I just want to come down a little bit below the top of the tank, maybe about right there, and then just go off to the side. So let's cut this. And so this right here will go on top of that. So I think that's good. We should be just below the top. Okay. And so now I need to get that 1/2-inch pipe to go from right here just over there in the woods somewhere. I now have the overflow pipe plumbed in, which goes to a couple inches below the tank and then goes off that 1/2-inch into the woods over there. And then the other side goes down to the garden. So I believe it's time to open this up and see what kind of results we get. See if there's any leaks. It's a good rush of water. The drips are stopping because that water is heading down the pipe. So I'm seeing a little bit of a leak right here. Not enough for me to be concerned about. I didn't use any adhesive there, so okay, so yeah, we'll wait for this to fill up the pipe going downhill, and then we'll come back up later and see how well the overflow system is going to work for this. I mostly just wanted to keep all of this dry because of the wood and the foundation here, and so I think putting it right over here will be sufficient. Oh yeah, I had forgotten there's not a valve down here, so we're gonna basically clean out that 330 gallons because of this small leak right here. So I think what I'm going to go ahead and do is pull off these broken pieces of pipe, and the poly pipe that's right down there is still good. So we'll just have to add a little adapter to be able to fit this right here, and we can go ahead and reattach everything down here. Since this portion down here was kind of boring, I went ahead and did this without you, but I just put a little elbow right here and then reconnected my little water system down here at the garden, and it stopped that water from flowing out. So if I were to turn on this valve over here just a little bit, you can see the water coming out of my wobbler sprinkler over here. So this thing is pretty cool. The water jet sticks out from the bottom and it wobbles this and sends water in all different directions. Well, there you go. You can see it there. So if I turn this up a little bit more, you can see it in action. Yeah. There you go. That's kind of what that is supposed to do. It'll hit about a 40-foot range with the pressure that I've got right here. So you can see right there, it's just kind of touching this little area right here. But anyway, I can crank it up. It'll hit the edge of the garden. So from right there, it's now touching this corner over here, making a giant circle. Tomorrow, whenever this IBC tank has filled back up, we will step back up there and see how the overflow is doing. I'm back up here at the water tower about 12 hours later, and it has filled up that remaining about 200 gallons that we were waiting on. So you can see right here, there is the overflow coming out of the tank, doing as expected. So basically, we've got the water coming up the delivery pipe, which goes all the way up to the top of the tank and through the lid. And then the overflow is coming out of the pipe going back down to the garden space. So basically the tank is full and the water wants to find the highest point to get out of, or the lowest point I should say, and that is right there at the T, which goes back down over there and basically just gets the water away from the base of my structure here. And of course, as soon as you open up this downstream, it will let the water out, and the water will lower down in this pipe here and no longer overflow. But yeah, so last night whenever I left, the water was at 125 gallons. And so it's gone from 125 to about 315 or so in that 12-hour period. And who knows how long it's been pumping out over there. As far as the structure itself, I feel like it's doing fine. I don't see any kind of sagging or issues at all. So I think that it's going to hold up that tote no problem. I think one of the keys is that I notched right here and put this 2x8 on that. So I think whenever I get the next one, I'll put it right over here, and I will simply just put probably another T right in here and just take some poly pipe over and connect to the other one, and we'll have 600 and something gallons. And I can just use the same overflow and they will match based on this T down here. So yeah, the pressure is low enough that that right there is not having any issues at all. That concludes the 3-part series on installing my new water tower and getting all the plumbing stuff done. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, write a comment down below, hit that like button, and make sure you're subscribed. I do want to hear your thoughts on this water tower. I think this is going to hold the 2-3 tons no problem, but I definitely like to hear your input as well. I'm Seth with Land to House, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.
Now, I mean, you may be, test, test, test. Straps down here to keep it from